Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the podcast. Today, I'm joined by John and Chris. In today's episode, we are going to be going over the Spring 2024 anime list and what we thought about it. There we go, the clapping. We're back. It's been a minute. Chris is giving a 1 thumbs down. It's not 2, so...
Yeah,
I could have done better.
wow. Okay. Well,
They call me One Take Chris for a reason.
One Take Chris.
Roll the clips of all of Christopher's.
I'll just
takes.
insert here. I'll make a nice little marker about that. We'll put in 10 seconds of bloopers. And now you
It's
can
not
join
necessary because there are none.
And then Kat jumping up, knocking down everything on the shelf.
Yeah,
Yes.
not a single thing fell down when she did that.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
All right, let's get to the brass tacks. We're talking about anime as we always do. Spring 2024, a little late, but
little.
we're still cracking at it. Pushing on.
I wonder why that happened.
Still a lot of anime to watch. We just, sometimes it just buries.
But it
Of
went down
me.
so smooth, like that whiskey on your shelf behind you.
This is not whiskey.
What is it?
It's mezcal.
Mezcal.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's, I don't know what it is either. I think it is a tequila.
It's for show.
It's a mezcal, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Apologies. Anyway,
You know.
so yeah, we watched about 32 anime this spring. And
New anime.
Yeah,
Don't
new
even forget
anime.
that. None of this second season bullshit.
No,
Always
and,
new.
These
Except for
anime
the last season.
could have stayed
Yeah.
unreleased, in my opinion. At least most of them.
It wasn't bad. It was repetitive and slow.
It's
a lot of the
nothing-
same things.
I was just the entire time just like, can I get something refreshing? That's really what I was looking for. Like some, of course, sparked my interest, but like I wanted something, like, oh, this is a little bit different. But
Yeah.
And there was a
The entire time,
couple.
I'm just like,
there was a couple that felt refreshing, but a majority of them felt like stuff we had watched in the past, or just
cookie cutter.
tropey.
Yes.
You know the deal.
The tropes don't end.
No,
And
not at all.
They just doubled down in this season. But I mean, there was nothing compared to other seasons where there were like one or two where it was like, I hate this. I hate everything about this. This to me, I just felt like I was being forced fed the same thing over and over again. How many times can you see an OP isekai protagonist go
Cheat
through the
skill.
same storyline over again? Cheat skill,
Obviously, not
OP.
enough times.
you know.
Hey, you know what? There's some
What are the
people out
tropes?
there who love this. This
Yeah.
is their genre.
Yeah,
that's
Well,
what
this
they
is what
love.
the market wants. This is why we have such a diluted market of this, is because this is what those Gen Zers want. They want the isekai life.
I wouldn't say that's absolutely 100% true. It's not just the Gen
Oh.
Zers.
Are you a
It's
Gen
Chris
Zer,
as well.
Chris?
Chris is a Gen Z. Yeah, he
that's
is. He
classified not,
He is.
not even
Oh.
like important
He
information.
was born in 2020. He's only
Hmm.
actually 4 years old.
Well, I did want to say before I forget, congratulations, Chris, on being drafted.
Oh.
Good luck in case anything happens.
I actually just I'm 27, so they're drafting up to 26-year-olds.
Are you?
Yeah.
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 I thought I'm pretty sure it said up to 28.
Is it really a draft?
So it was, I don't know the full thing because I'm not a big
So much for an anime
political
podcast,
thing.
everybody.
Yeah.
What are we
But,
talking about?
Well,
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
been on like my TikTok feed for the
Oh,
last couple of
okay.
days, but pretty much I guess the
Instead
house
of working, he's
You
just
mean-
on
you-
the
TikTok.
house
mean
passed
pick
pickpock passed the bill that auto drafted everyone between the ages of 18 and I think it was 28. It might be 26, 26 or 28.
because
But
I
you're
saw the
auto-drafted.
26 and I thought, okay, I'm good. Like, was it that way?
No.
Not important. Not anime, so we don't care.
They could make an anime out of it.
I mean, that's that might be how they get you out there, you know?
All right.
So, for this season, we made a tier list.
Yeah, we're shaking things up.
Yeah.
Still finding our footing and how we would like
A
to
little
do
bit more
this.
robust.
Yeah. What captures your attention spans in those?
Totally Chris's idea, not John's whatsoever.
Why are you throwing me like out there like that? It's not even my idea.
Why are you giving him credit for my idea? You didn't like my idea, Si?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't hear it. Chris was saying something. He was
Anyway.
like, "Oh, my idea. I'm the brains of the operation."
Anyway. Sorry, one more outburst from you and you might get canned. So,
Campbell soup.
next time you say anything, it better be about anime.
We'll
It's our lists.
We'll
Our
put you a
lists.
vote after the episode. But yes, as Chris was saying, we're shaking it up, this time around. Instead of diving into each individual synopsis and rundown, we're going to try and speed things up and hopefully have a good conversation around it. And we made a tier list of everything, ranking it from what you should skip, what was just basic, what was good, great, and why aren't you watching this yet already? Like, what everybody should be watching. So 5 little tiers, I think, encapsulates the season pretty well. So who wants to be on the chopping block first and get roasted about their picks? Chris?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
Chris hands shot right up.
Oh,
I'll do it.
Let's see what Chris picked. Screen share. And I'm going to pick Chris. And I'm going to share it. There we go. Maybe I can make this a little bigger. Zoom. There we go. That looks nice. All right. Let's look into this here. So D, because Chris didn't update his naming scheme, is what you should skip. C is the it's basic, it wasn't great, has some room for improvement. B was it was a good series. A was fantastic or amazing, and S was you have to be watching this, which I want to say immediately. How the hell is was it Astro Note?
Yeah.
Astro Note is in your S tier.
I could explain.
That was, and I'm gonna have to look at size too right now.
You can't compare yet. It's not fair.
Well, I just or
I don't know if I
size.
adjusted my thing. I just did the top being my favorite and the bottom
That was
being like
just.
no.
I guess I'll let you defend it first, Chris. Why is Astro tier? I want to know, a must-watch anime.
I think Astro Note has
Astro Note.
really cool art design and character designs. I think the story is interesting and the characters are pretty comical. I laughed out loud a couple times. I'm intrigued to see where the story goes. And it was quite visually striking in my opinion. And out of all the other ones, like this to me is one of the better ones.
I'm gonna say it right now. I have no idea what you're gonna pick. If this is what your list looks like right now, and I'm looking and I'm seeing the one I thought you were gonna pick, and it's definitely not where I thought it was gonna be. I don't know. I don't know you. I guess I don't know you anymore.
Well,
I don't know
listen,
what's
He's
happening.
trying to
to you.
throw us off.
Over
He
the
just clicked and
course-
dragged.
over the course of all the episodes and all the animes we watched, I'm opening my horizons. I'm liking more things that I don't usually typically watch. So things, preferences change. That's all I can say about that.
That's
I'm very
definitely
shocked.
apparent.
I'm very shocked at what I'm seeing. Dude.
Wow.
No, but I'm gonna
I guess
start
yeah,
at the D
yeah.
tiers.
Well,
I
you don't
can't
have to
really
go through each one. Just give me the highlights of like.
I can't really see it. Hold on, I have to open it up on my phone.
Yeah. Well, I can read it out. I can see it here
Oh,
in
if
your
you
D
can read it
tier.
out for me then.
Yeah. I see you've got and let me pull up the naming.
Grandma, grandpa,
Turn young again.
turn young
Okay,
again.
first of all, let me just speak on that one real quick. I thought that was going to be good. I really had some hopes for it, and then
Yes.
when
I did too. I read it before, and the manga of it seemed really enjoyable. You know, and a couple who missed out on their youth turning young and getting to have like that youth back again and do whatever they want. Really great. It got toppled with too much incestuous undertones that I did not enjoy.
That was it. That's what put it at the D tier. I'm like, this is just weird. And I would have made the process of them getting young different. So it started with them in their like apple tree farm or whatever. And they found the golden apple and I guess ate it and turned young.
Yeah, I was confused about that too, because they didn't show them eating the apple.
Yeah, just show that they found it on their tree.
Yeah,
you just
kind of like insinuated that they did.
What I would have done is I would have had them on their deathbeds and them recounting like, oh, we've been together for 70 years. If you were young again, what would you do? And they say whatever, and then they die. And then there was a scene where someone cried and a tear dropped into something. And I guess that also had to do with the youngening. But I would have led with like them dying, and then instead of dying, they woke up young. Instead of like a misleading
born in their own world.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're not really reborn; they're the same person.
Yeah, they're just
reverting. They die.
Anyway, my point is, it felt like it had some good qualities, but the incest turned it off.
Yes. And they had to do not just the granddaughter who was being like all over her grandpa, but also to his daughter-in-law.
Yep.
And then, that was just...
It's not worth
creepy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, a show for someone out there, but I'm dropping it. I don't want to watch it anymore.
For me, what it just needed was, like, the second they both see that they've turned young, and he's like, because they were recounting how they never went on their honeymoon, and he was like pouncing on her. I would have loved it if it just shot off into like a montage of them like going around the world doing a trip and like doing all these things, and like would like from a perspective of somebody who's already like mentally older, like doing all these things that like young couples and everything do today would have been more enjoyable or anything like that. But
but we digress.
Yeah.
Anyway,
skipping that.
What else is on that D?
Sai, any other thoughts on it?
No, you guys hit right on the money rate with it. It got super awkward. So the incest stuff as usual.
Chris, do you want me to read through all of them or just read through?
Yeah,
I'll read through all of them and then you can stop me when that. So the next one up we have is, I believe
the Hyper Racer one.
Yeah, Hyper Racing. I forget what the name was exactly.
Something like Highspeed Elote.
Yes.
Definitely
that's
not Elote.
That's how I read it. When I looked at it, I was like, "What?"
That one just had interesting animation that I wasn't a fan of, and for the majority of the episode, we were just watching a race and commentators speak, and I was very bored.
Yes,
it was very just dragging.
It made everything very slow. I didn't know there was no story. It was the equivalent of flipping through the channels and you land on a Formula One race and you know nothing about Formula One. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the race. You don't know the drivers. You don't know any history about anything from the previous season. And you spend the entire episode with nothing occurring.
Just listening.
I kept waiting to see, like, okay, is someone going to crash? Is there going to be a death? I kept thinking that the King Racer was going to die. Yeah. And like, I thought the AI car that kept like trailing behind him was going to like malfunction or something. Because they were making it seem like, oh, AI drivers, but people don't really necessarily like them. But yeah, that was... it was so boring.
And we didn't get introduced to our main character until the very end.
Yeah.
So,
which I didn't like. There was no narration. Where's the story? Like, who is she? Was she like obsessed with racing as a child? Did she like
no,
have
she
dreams
wanted to be
of
a
this?
ballerina. That was explained when we saw her for the last 3 minutes, but it just wasn't engaging.
No.
So, yeah, that's a skip for me.
No. All right, let me
Continue.
finish reading off these titles, and then you can jump to one, because it went back and forth. All right, so the next one up we have is I was reincarnated as the seventh prince, so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. Then we have Monster, followed up by the Vampire Dormitory. And then we have, what was it? God's Game?
God's Game We Play.
God's Game We Play.
Something like
we watched that one together, Sai, the other day.
Yes.
And then we have another isekai. The banished former hero lives as he pleases. Followed up by another isekai. Chilling in a world with level 2 super cheat powers. Followed up by a romance that I had, higher hopes for. Tamida and Okaeri. That's what it's just called. I think it was their names, but it was just too boring for me to remember. And then the New Gate, and then followed up by the Skip and Loafer ripoff, A Condition Called Love, and then I think it was Studio Apartment, Good Lighting, Angel Included, an apartment listing that I'm surprised wasn't at your. If Astro Note's up there, Chris, I'm surprised this one wasn't.
Studio Apartment with the Angel Included was horrible.
So was Astro Note.
Astro Note had some more uniqueness compared to the Studio Apartment.
No.
I mean, I really don't have much to say about any of those shows other than the fact that I did not enjoy them. They weren't for me. The Newgate one is basically, I really just thought of Sword Art Online.
Yes.
So I'm like, this isn't anything new.
I forgot about that.
So everything in detail is basically things that I felt like I've seen before, things that were underwhelming, and just not memorable. Like, I couldn't even tell you what the Banished Warrior one, what was that one called?
Banished from the heroes something. I will live at my leisure.
Yeah, I just don't even remember.
The banished former hero lives as he pleases. That one was about pretty much he reincarnated. He was the hero previously reincarnated into a high-powered family with no abilities, but secretly was OP and blah, 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 boring. We've heard it before. We've seen it before.
Was banished from the kingdom, and then now he can live freely, and then
exactly
now he can use his powers and do whatever he wants.
Just
no loyalty.
Yeah, I agree with most of these. I think I had the same, except for, I think, one of them. But yeah, they're just all just boring. Like they're just repetitive. This is the season of repetitiveness, of just like how much can you saturate this market of OP isekais without giving us anything?
Right.
And it was just so boring.
Yeah. So we can move on to C tier.
Yeah. C, we have I don't know how to pronounce the first part, so I'm just going to go with The Raven Does Not Choose Its Master, followed up by the Demon, How to Love Your Elf Bride, The Archdemon's Dilemma, and then Windbreaker, which I'm going to say this right here. That was the one I thought Chris was going to pick. When I first saw it, that was my number one of like, okay, this is right up Chris's wheelhouse. And I'm pretty sure Studio Mappa also did it.
It's like Buchigiri almost.
Yeah.
So if I can just interject about Windbreaker, I thought so I did think it was cool. Like the first few minutes, I'm like, oh, this is the opening of how this anime is starting seems interesting. And then it just immediately started going downhill for me. The it feels like a lot of the gang versus gang shows, like Tokyo Revengers, Buchigiri, and I feel like there's another one that I'm missing, but
No.
it feels like a cookie cutter gang versus gang high school fighting anime.
Yeah.
And the characters, while they had cool designs, I felt were pretty one-dimensional and didn't really add much. But I'm only going off the first episode, so I can't really speak on them that much.
I guess you didn't want to take another Buchigiri stab at it and get burned.
Nope.
Yeah. Because to me, I didn't watch a couple of these. I watched through the first couple of episodes because I had a bunch of time, but I didn't watch the second one of this. But to me, how this started off is how I felt Buchigiri should have been with their whole gang and high school setup, which ultimately it wasn't, if you remember in the last episode. But yeah, I was really shocked with that. But
it was just very sped up in the beginning, like the relationship building with the woman in the beginning, like just forced relationship with her.
Yeah, it was I don't know, I really thought you would have ranked it higher, Chris. But then we have Mission Yozakura Family, followed up by the Many Sides of Voice Acting Radio, and then Fable. Was it Fable Man?
The Fable.
Yeah, I think that's the Fable.
This is one that I thought Chris was gonna like.
The Fable, while like it's more in my wheelhouse, it's like rated mature, so I'm thinking it's gonna have like deeper themes, more.
It was only first episode.
Yeah, it was only the first episode, but the issue was the first episode was a slow burn for sure. So I would have rated it higher if like there was more to go off of in the first episode, but
some people before this one aired were like saying, "Oh, this is going to be the next Sakamoto Days." Sakamoto Days. And after watching, I was like, "This is awful."
Yeah, it wasn't. This was
what was it called? Under Ninja. This is Under Ninja. I was like, this.
I did
this
get
comedy.
The same feeling from Under Ninja and the Fable.
The type of comedy in it was very similar.
Dry comedy.
So yeah, and then we have a salad bowl of eccentrics
or eccentrics.
Yeah,
I said the lotes. Whichever anime that was that had it, that I thought it was that.
Not sure how this title came to be. Like I don't remember anything in the episode that made them equate other than her eating a salad. I don't think
the actual salad has anything to do with it. It's just like a combination of people.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking.
And then Whisper Me a Love Song.
That's the high dive, right?
One.
Yeah.
Yes, and then Unnamed Memory, I think was the last one there.
Yeah. There was the Raven Chooses You anime. I think
I had no idea what was going on in that one.
I was highly confused, and even though I felt like the animation looked good, I was just like so confused by the story.
I had no idea about the story. All I was like, where did the two brothers from the beginning go? And then all of a sudden it's a wedding ceremony, I think.
Well, no, it's princesses from like the different provinces, and the Lord of the Land has to like pick one to be his wife, essentially. Yeah, and you're just getting introduced to all the other princesses and stuff. It's I don't know. It feels like a period piece in a way. It has that.
Yeah. There was just no world building in it for me to like understand anything.
They explain a little bit when they're going over like the history, but even then it's just like at that point I'm already like, you introduced me to like 12 characters. I don't know the backstory. What was the beginning that I watched? Like
the only reason why I put it in C is primarily because of the art in it. I think that has a lot of merit. I thought it was pretty to look at and watch. So
okay.
But I wasn't really engaged with the story and characters.
Yeah, it made it into a skip for me because there was not enough information at all for me to be like, I have no interest in watching this further.
Understandable.
Yeah. And then moving up to your B rank, we have Mysterious Disappearances. Kaiju number 8 in your B.
Surprising
Uh,
for me.
Oblivion Battery, and what is it?
Train to the world, end of the world.
Train Ride to the End of the World. Yeah.
So for Train Ride to the End of the World and the mystery one,
Mm-hmm.
I actually can't remember the plot for those.
All right, I'll give you a rundown because those are fresh in my mind. Mysterious Disappearances is about the two bookshop workers, and she gets the book, and it, in turn, after reading it, transfers her back into what she thinks is her younger
15-year-old self.
Yeah. And then the train trip to the end of the world is about 7G destroying the planet.
Right. Yeah, actually, that one I did enjoy because I thought it was an interesting concept.
And like it,
and that was very fresh. I was like, "What the fuck?"
I really like that one. That one was a very refreshing thing. More than I thought it was. When I saw the cover art of this, I was like, it's gonna be some weird
So did I.
slice of life thing. But yeah, it's really, really interesting story. Really fresh idea on like apocalyptic thing, because everybody's kind of alive, but everyone over who's technically an adult is just
27. It's like ages 27 or 28 or something like that.
Yeah,
or 20 something, and then
are
like 3
messed
months
up in some way, and
they become an animal, a
Well,
peaceful animal.
In their town, they changed into animals. In other places, some people turned into an entire forest of trees that can't move or do anything. It seems like everywhere we're gonna go, we're gonna see some weird thing as affected
different
due
train
to
stops.
7G. You know, the people were right. You know, 2 more iterations of 5G just ended the world.
That's it.
And then Oblivion Battery. I thought I'm not huge into sports anime, but I did like the setup of the story with the duo all-star baseball, pitcher and catcher. One of them gets amnesia and basically forgets everything, but the heart and soul of baseball and playing with his best friend is still inside of him. And he like stepped up to the plate when it mattered after he got the amnesia. I thought that was cool.
I agree. I really liked it too. This one was by Studio Mappa, so that's why it looks so
polished.
So nice. Yeah. I enjoyed this one also more than I thought it was. I don't really like sports animes.
Sports in general.
I mean, there's a couple like sport genred ones that I've watched and enjoyed, like iShield 21, the football one, but this definitely surprised me. Like you said, the relationship between the two guys and the former baseball athlete who went up against them. It's crazy. But I have a theory. I think he doesn't have amnesia. I think he's just playing it off, because kind of like how they talk about in the beginning, how when the pitcher guy best friend is talking about how he used to be so like lively and wild and like goofy, and then showed pretty much as they went on and got more serious about baseball, he put his friend's needs first and making him like a great pitcher. I feel like whatever accident fully occurred when we get introduced to that will like show he got to a point like he just wanted an out for it, because to him it no longer became like enjoyable.
Interesting theory.
Yeah.
Because when he realizes, oh, he's gonna break his hand if he catches it that way, the other guy, and steps in, was definitely like, oh, he remembers this, he's just playing it off, and then it was like, oh yeah, muscle memory, I'm fine to do this.
That is an interesting theory. I'd be interested to see if that pans out that way. I don't think so though.
Yes, Chris is gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But next up in your list, we have Tononari Yokai-san, Bartender, and the infamous Go-Go Loser Rangers. I think it was our second, which was our first episode that we talked about this in great detail. You know, my excitement about it, the amped up hype about it.
My excitement too.
And then you went and watched it without us, Chris. Sorry.
When we were
sorry.
gonna watch it together. It's fine. Totally okay.
So let me talk about these
But
three,
yeah,
since there's only three.
Tell us about like your greats. Why are these great?
For the Tonori no Yokai-san, I thought that was really interesting how like animals are turning into like these demi-human kind of creatures. Yokai, yeah. We follow the one cat, and he's trying to figure out his place in the world now that he's this yokai and has some sort of human consciousness.
He named Yamada.
Thank you.
Which I just realized, is Yamada the equivalent of like John in Japan? Because they have a line in there where it's like, "Oh, what are you gonna name yourself?" Yamada. And he's like, "Oh, that's a pretty common name." And thinking back, like 90% of the animes we've watched have had either a protagonist named Yamada or like some second string character named Yamada. I feel like that's probably one of the most common names in Japan.
Are we changing your name, John, to Yamada? Is that what you want?
I guess so.
Are you Yamada now? John Yamada?
Am I Yamada? I guess I am.
But what really stood out for me for this? So it seemed like that was it. These animals are turning into yokai. But at the very end, there was that dark matter cloud in the forest. I'm like, what is that? Because that just came out of nowhere. And I'm curious to see like where this story will go, because I already think it's interesting, but it seems like it's going to get deeper. So that's why I put that up there. I think the art style in it was really polished compared to some of the other ones, which look kind of generic for the most part. The Bartender, A Glass of God, I think was really cool because I'm learning about all these different drinks and the process of making them.
But yet you don't know what mezcal is.
Yeah, I don't know what mezcal is. But it's interesting to like see what a very serious bartender is like and actually caring about his customers. It's a pretty feel-good slice of life, in my opinion.
I think, and I don't know if there's a name of it, but I think like this type of anime, which is like a hyper-focused specialization of somebody in a particular like job or skill in this just like very basic slice of life, but doing it to a degree of a professional series, are always like super enjoyable. Like
they did a very good job with like animating the baking of the drinks, the pouring of it. I think that looked really neat. Just like when you see like a good food anime. I think it went out of focus for a sec.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think if you're doing anything with food related, if you don't bring it and make the person want to be eating or drinking that, you're failing with your animation. But no,
Chris
they did it.
Chris was watching Bartender. I'm real thirsty now. Get my water.
Let me get my
Did you go out to the liquor store and like buy a bunch of stuff to start making?
He made a really terrible drink.
I wanted to make an a la passe style. I don't even know if that's what it's called. When the liquid like sits on top of each other.
Grasshopper, like they did in the show.
Grasshopper.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, Chris is like, I'm gonna make a rum and coke on the rocks, but I'm gonna hold the rum.
Yes. Before jumping to the next one, the studio who made this was Studio Lieber, who also worked on another show that we've watched. If you have any guesses, if this looked familiar to anything or reminded you of anything.
Not particularly.
No? The Ice Guy and his cool female colleague.
Oh, interesting.
Same studio who worked on
that. I didn't enjoy that one, so I can't remember really.
John and I liked it.
Yeah. I really like that one. But yeah, that had
got nervous, started snowing.
Animation.
Yeah. That is interesting.
I'm real curious for this next one, Chris. I really want to hear what you say.
Let's hear about your must-watch, your S tier, the cream of the crop anime that you think everybody should be watching. Astro Note, viral hit, and a jellyfish can't swim at night.
So, as I said for Astro Note, it has really interesting animation. It's really different from a lot of the ones in this bunch. I just think it is interesting. It's funny.
No.
I like the characters a lot. They're all different. And yeah, I don't really have anything else. It's a lot better than so many other of these shows. So,
all right. Well, you've got an interesting lineup here.
Viral hit.
Definitely didn't think some of these are. Yeah.
You didn't think Viral Hit would be up top?
I didn't think it would be like your top one. I thought it was definitely great and like really good. Especially for a webtoon. Especially this webtoon, I did not know how it was going to turn out because it's obviously like CGI style animation.
Some of it.
And that's always like a hit or miss.
Yeah, the quicker.
I think it worked in here. I thought most of the like animation in it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
I didn't notice a lot of CGI, but what I really like about it is like it kind of is a reflection of the world today. Like everyone is trying to be a content creator, streamer, or do something to make money, right?
So dumb.
Yeah. Who would do that?
Wow, like and subscribe.
But
smash that bell.
I like this kid. He's getting bullied. He doesn't know what to do, and he figures like I could make money by getting beat up. So let's do it. And
he also
how to
beats
get
some
hit without
people.
being hurt.
Sure, but it's interesting, like the setup with the guy who basically assaulted him in his apartment, kind of tricks him into doing this duo. But I feel like they are going to become friends. And
90-10 split.
Have you read it, Chris?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I'm surprised. This has been around for a while. I didn't even realize they were going to do an animation because the art style is just so polarizing.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was going to be like pull it off well, but no, they nailed it. I really enjoyed it. I really like the story. I think I have like 15 chapters left before finishing it. It's like 200 chapters, I think. But no, it's really good. I'm surprised the community doesn't like it more. It's sitting at a 6.99 on my anime list.
That is surprising.
Halfway down. Yeah, it's one of the better shows this season, and I think it definitely deserves a way better crowd, especially too with how a lot of, like you said, what you think like the relationship, everything is going to grow. It has a lot of potential that I don't think people maybe who are not familiar with it know, but I think it's definitely a smash hit.
You mean a viral hit?
A viral hit.
Well, look at that placement.
Look at that.
But now it's on to the jellyfish.
Jellyfish can't swim at night. And this one I was pleasantly surprised with. I thought it was going to be something completely different, but
high dive.
The high dive one.
This is not even just high dive, but it is an original anime series.
Gotcha.
So I think the story is what really spoke to me. I feel like a lot of people can relate to the main character and a couple of the other characters you meet throughout the first episode. It's got a lot of themes, but the style of the anime was also really, really well done. The backdrops were incredible, and there's a music number in it which I found really catchy. The acoustic version, of course.
Yeah.
And I feel like the two characters that we are really introduced to are really well thought out. They feel three-dimensional. And I'm interested to see the other characters later on who make this Jelly music group. But yeah, those are my top 3, I guess.
Look at that.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. Jellyfish Can't Swim is a very high pick. Spoilers, it is in my must watch. It was a genuine surprise, but not too much of a surprise. Anyone want to take a crack at the studio behind it, or another series that was done by the same studio?
Studio Pierrot. Parrot.
No. Sai, any ideas? The sibling animation to this? Well, this was by Studio Doga Koba.
Studia.
Studia Doga Koba, which if you guys are
Miji
familiar
Valley?
with it, no, they are the ones responsible for. Is there a drum roll? Drum roll joke? No, just drum roll.
I like the animation style, so
Yes.
That was FS.
Oshikono.
Oshinoko?
Same studio that did Oshikono.
What is Oshikono?
Oshinoko.
Oh
Oshinoko.
my god.
I was literally about to say, John, wow, you ruined that drum roll moment.
Oshikono.
Yes.
What the hell?
Yeah, no one's ever seen that.
Oshinoko, yes.
Yeah, you can tell the
same
details.
Studio.
You can tell the detail, especially in the light in front of the mural.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when they perform the little song and stuff.
Well, now that you mention it, I remember when we watched Oshinoko, the first episode was like a spectacle. It was really well done.
2 hours.
And now I'm afraid if I go back and watch episode 2 of this, it won't be as good.
No, I think this studio, it's going to be. I think if anything, I don't think enough people are watching this because it's not like it is on. I think it was on the top of anime trending for the last couple of weeks, but I feel like I haven't seen anybody in the community talking about this show. But it's awesome. It's a great, like you said, great story, great animation, really cool group of like characters coming together, and like especially too, like, not that it like it matters, but this is like a really strong like female-led character series. Even compared to the other one that was on here, Whisper Me a Love Song, really nicely designed, but the story was very lacking.
Yeah, the cherry blossom stuff and that I really enjoyed. That's the only thing I liked about the anime.
But yeah, this one I'm super excited about. I'm gonna be watching it regardless of if it makes it into
there was
our
a couple
watch list.
moments where I almost cried. Not gonna lie.
That
it just hit my like heartstring in the right way.
When they're doing the acoustic song towards the end of it, and like then she like runs up, rips the poster down, and starts like drawing her
logo.
Yeah, her logo onto there. It was perfect.
You know, this is one of the ones Ryan watched with me.
Yeah.
And I was laying in my bed, he was in my desk chair, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm enjoying this. I think Ryan might be too.
And he's just sound
asleep. When it ended,
Leaping.
he said, I hated this.
Get him on the call now.
Not an anime person, though.
No,
he's not.
But if you are, you should be watching A Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night. But that was a nice list of yours, Chris. I don't agree with all of it. But let's take a look at size next.
It's purely objective. Like
it is.
This is based on ourselves. Now, mine is vastly different from Chris's, and I also just want to say there's a lot in D.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I would skip.
Sai was a much harsher critic. You know, as we've been doing this more, I've definitely seen Chris's
open up.
Chris's immediate violent response to animes has gone down, and Sai's old man will, back when I watched anime, it wasn't any of this bullshit, has gone up. So it's definitely very interesting in the personality changes in watching these.
It's getting older. It's getting worse.
Sai's list right here. All right. So, I mean, we don't have to go through too much, but we can take a second here and take a look.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you got nothing in A.
Hold on. So this is really what it comes down to for me too, is like my S tier is going to be things that like I immediately got hooked, and John knows because he was with me when I watched both, and then like my reaction, going, anything for D.
Damn.
I could tell you there's things for specific animes, of course, that I did enjoy about them. But honestly, I'm going to skip them because it's not enough for me to want to actually watch it thoroughly. But I don't want it to be like a super negative thing, like, oh, these are just god-awful. I can tell you the baseball one, the driving one, the sports ones, I'm not going to get hooked on those whatsoever. Not into those type of animes. All the isekai, I wanted to just bleh. And once they started popping out menu screens of their abilities and all this, it's too much for me at that point. when we get to the C,
Can I
the
pause
C
you
tier,
real quick?
you can pause me. Sure.
Can you just tell me what you didn't like about Viral Hit? Because I'm surprised that you put it all the way down in D.
I was not interested whatsoever in this.
Okay.
I think animation-wise with the CG,
No.
like I thought that was like this most unique part, but like for the story and stuff,
Damn.
I could care less about the
And
fighting
am I
for
seeing
it.
this?
Sai's
You
not a
also don't
webtoon
like
guy.
Bartender?
Yeah. I couldn't care less about the Bartender one. I could say good things about it. I thought the animation was done very well. I think they can get into a story eventually. Me personally, would I be sitting down to continue to watch this on my own?
I'll
It's
say
not-
I
it's not
already
something that I
watched
would
like
want.
6 episodes of it.
Well, I'm glad.
How many
I mean,
episodes of Astro Note did you watch?
Only one.
he's like, I finished it. He said, I finished it. I finished the whole thing. That's what.
Well, at this point in time,
Um,
we are on like week 10. Just came out of all these shows.
Yeah.
I also, I do want to say, like, this season, like, not a lot of, romance ones, which usually is something that
Yeah.
I enjoy watching. Like, I was kind of disappointed. The second one on the D list, what was that called again? It's their two names.
Yeah, it's it starts with a T. Tamida and Okaeri.
So, like, I thought that was gonna, like, I thought this might be
No,
something
no,
that would be
no,
good.
no. That's not. It's not their names. It's Tadaima.
Tadaima, sorry.
Tadaima is like I'm home. I think.
All
right.
Oh, I'm home, dear. I'm assuming that's what it
I don't know what Okaeri
translates
means,
to.
but
With this, the baby being 2 years old or whatever, and being able to fully formulate sentences as that baby can, just threw me off. But it's just not enough to hook me. Like, I understand
No.
there's some dynamic of like class being in there, like the one character is like in
Yeah.
a higher social class than the other, and it's kind of weird, and there's that weird dynamic. But like
Yeah,
for me,
that's-
it's like
That
not
was the
enough to
same
hook.
reaction I had. I wanted this to be the unofficial follow-up to Cherry Magic. Like when I started watching this, it was like, oh, this is gonna be like pretty much what we would expect the future of their relationship to be. They settled
Yeah.
down, they got married, they now have a child that they're raising, and I thought this was gonna be, but then the unexplained Omega and Alpha like attributed
social dynamic.
this is another anime that Ryan watched with me, and it put him to
Mhm.
sleep. And I
Yeah.
also want to state there was a line in this series where they're talking about like the baby and who it looks like. The one guy says, "Oh, well, I've spent 10 months with the baby inside me." And that
Yeah.
really confused both of us.
Yeah,
So I wasn't
think-
sure if that was a translation error.
No, I think there is some sort of, and I guess it would be explained in episode 2, which is a shame because I would have liked it to be answered now.
Yeah.
But like there's a shot, I don't know if just how it was animated, but on what's his name, the stay-at-home dad, he Makan, there's a scene where you see the back of his neck and
Yeah,
there's
it's
like this
stitches or something.
Yeah, which I was like, is that have something to do with being an Omega? I don't know, but nothing
noticed that
that-
too.
There's something not explained yet.
Yeah.
In the series
And then also
for it.
in the opening trailer, if you notice it too,
2 children.
at the end of it, they have 2 children.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe it's like when you in this universe, when you meet somebody and like if you're an alpha or omega, regardless of
Gender.
sex, they like reproduce or something. I don't know, and if it's
it's an
maybe more
interesting
difficult
take.
between like an omega. Now I don't know. It just wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was disappointing because like I felt like the personalities of both of them, if you take out the omega and alpha stuff, were like interesting, kind of like in Cherry Magic, and it was disappointing. I had more hopes for it. Yeah.
All right, continue, Sai.
Sorry, I was getting a zoom in on my list. I'm also wearing my contacts, which I can't see very close up, so I'll have to like lean back to see certain things. That's just my prescription, though. Do you guys have any questions on the D section for this list, though? Because like I said,
No.
it's not like I like hate some of these. Some of them just I'm
Yeah,
not really
like,
into, and it's not
that's-
going to be something I'm going to move on
Mhm.
with.
Yeah, I think that's
Understandable.
kind of like what this list is, you know, just like Lexi Niato said, you know, there's not really bad anime. except there is.
It's
There's
the
yet.
title.
But yeah, you know, it's just maybe you should spend your time and effort into watching something else. You know, there's only so much anime you can fit in.
There's a lot.
So watch the more enjoyable ones. But yeah, I don't think the only one I kind of from this list liked a little bit more was the voice actor ones. I put that as a good one. I enjoyed that. I like to see more about it. I thought it was a nice slice of life of these two
High schoolers.
odd couple voice actors and like their footing
Personas.
into voice acting.
They have their own like gigs and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
like, again, I'm basing this, and we're basing this off the first episode. I mean,
Yeah.
if we watch more of it, could we change our mind and our outcome of this? Probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that could end up
Possible.
happening. But for me, basing off like, hey, if we're gonna look at all this, what are the top 3 anime that you want to watch? That's really what it came
That
down to.
You want to watch?
That I want to watch. So if we look at,
Yeah.
is it cool if I move on to C real quick?
Yeah, it's,
All right.
it's your.
Can you help me
list.
with the name titles for for some of these?
The first
left to
one
right?
up in the left corner is reincarnated as an aristocrat. I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world. Very
this-
original.
Very original, and I don't really watch a lot of these guys.
Why is it
This
C?
one- So this, again, for me, the story is what got me from here. I don't watch
Yeah.
it a lot, but something like this made me want to watch. Like, hey, this is something maybe I would be interested in, because the way they went about it, the appraisal skill, you know, that's just, of course, that's out of nowhere, I feel like. But the story I did enjoy, because you kind of, in the beginning, get to see what happens with the father dying, and you get a piece of the future, and then now you're seeing it at the beginning, like what occurred to get to that point there, which just, you know, I don't know. It makes me want to know a little bit more about the story, especially because he brought in that other foreigner to be his, what did they call it? Like a
tell you.
reception or something like that. I forget what they used it for specifically, but his father let him become a soldier after being able to land one hit on him. Because it seems like they were kind of racist against those people.
The
Which wasn't
demi-humans.
cool. Well, they're not demi.
No, were they?
Am I thinking
can't
of?
remember
I think I'm
because
thinking of something
No,
else.
they're foreigners.
you're thinking of the
You're
other
thinking
one.
of something
Yeah.
else.
the chilling in another world with my level 2 super cheat skills.
Yes, that one.
If we can jump over to that, because you just reminded me, why would you introduce this whole subplot of like racism against the demi-humans
And then
just to be
drop it.
teleported to a world
gone.
that has none of that?
It's
This has disappeared.
absolutely
That's one that John
ridiculous.
watched at my house. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I turned to him. I was like, what is the point of them telling us this and showing? I was like,
And
and
then
he's
he-
a good person? Like, what?
Yeah,
I don't know,
and then
very
goes to a
confusing.
world where none of that's occurring, which is like, okay, well, a large portion of who he is as a person now doesn't matter to this world.
Yeah,
Like-
because everyone's the same at that point. They're like, yeah,
Mhm.
no, if you have slaves or anything like that, it's messed up. Yeah, okay, we're all on the same page. That's good.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Second on this one is what Jellyfish can't swim at
Swim
night.
Yeah,
So
I know.
this as I have here, I really enjoyed the animation. That was the biggest point. Makes sense now knowing that it was the studio of Oshinoko, or as you said,
Oshikono.
Kono or whatever. But the animation was really good. The story couldn't hook me as much, but I think they did a very good job with it, especially the lighting, the colors. Always vibrant. Whenever I watch a high dive show, I just feel like they put a little bit more effort, or like I can notice like, hey, I think this might be a high dive show,
Yeah,
just because
It's
like
gotta look. It's
the
kind of
quality in that. I don't know.
as High Dive is slowly stepping up their game more, and I feel like they're kind of like the underdog. They're kind, to me at least, I kind of see them as being a little more like A24, where they're being very particular now and very like hyper focused on, because they're not securing like the big anticipated titles now that Disney is kind of swooped in and like got Go Loser Rangers, and they got Undead Unluck and Tokyo Revengers, which I think was a horrible pick. But they're definitely like just going for that high dramatic like original series for you to like watch and get hooked on. They're exclusives. Yeah.
The third one, I forget the title of this one.
Reincarnated as the seventh prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability, which seems to already be perfected at the beginning of the series because I was super obsessed with magic in my previous life, and now I'm a femboy who's OP.
This
That's the full
one,
title.
that
No
is a lot,
exaggeration.
and I don't remember. I honestly didn't remember the show until right this second. I think I rated this higher is because I wanted to see more of the dynamic that I liked. This is the one with the demon or whatever he finds in the secret library underneath the castle.
Yeah,
I think
looks like he's having
I think that was this one. I just specifically liked that, and I thought that was funny that
I mean,
this young
this
kid
series.
that this young kid could basically just shoo off this all-powerful demon. The demon's like, what is going on? Like, what the hell? No, no, no. And it's just, I don't know. I thought that was funny. That's what I enjoyed about it. And then real quick, Fable, the reason why, or The Fable, right? Is it
yeah,
called?
the Fable.
The Fable. I thought the dry humor was funny in it because he's like just a plain like dry hitman. I guess he's like a famous hitman. And then has to try to live a normal life and not kill anybody. And at the moment they're driving at a pit stop, he just hits these two, I guess, carjackers, thieves or whatever, trying to touch him, and like they're on the ground in like agonizing pain. He's like, sorry, it's a reflex. Like, I don't know. I just think that has a lot of potential that I would enjoy for dry humor and some action. It's a little bit more mature, of course. But yeah.
I want to go back to the other anime, The Seventh Prince. You said you liked the aspect of the relationship between the demon and the prince, but it seems like that's the only thing you liked about it. So why is it not in D?
Because this is what I chose, Chris. Because in my mind, if I was to look at it this way, this is what I put.
It was funny, at least, to have that. Like, it had an actual story, but for me, at least, I hated the OP-ness. The OP-ness just like, because there's no perfecting my magical ability.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect that he's doing.
Yeah.
He's just learning more. And
Yeah.
That's why he wants to learn more from the demon, because the moment he's reborn, he's a baby, he doesn't realize it, and then shoots off a fire spell and like explodes and like shatters everything across the
I think
side.
it's
He's
also
like,
really animated really nicely. I think the animation style is nice.
animation was decent in it.
Yeah. I think, were you over when we watched this?
Yeah,
or no?
we watched this one.
Yeah, we watched this one. Okay, then yeah.
Yeah.
And then you may move on to the last three because I can just cruise those really easy. B, which is the train to the end of the world.
Yeah.
The beginning threw me off. The 7G, I was super confused. The moment that the girl hit the button and everything kind of changed from there, maybe like 10 minutes in, that's when I was just like, whoa, like what the hell is going on? And then they slowly tell you like what happens after the button pressed. 2 years have passed, like what's going on. I like that to me, this was the refreshing one for me. Like this was different. And to have their town have people turn into animals, and then, you know, what happens in the other town, like you said, like the one town people turn to like entire forests or whatever. Just very unique, refreshing story. I think it's different. It sparks me to think like what's going to happen next, and I would want to know, which is why I have it ranked as B.
Yeah, I want to know what happened between her and the main girl at the beginning, which that was such an odd animation transition from like when she's getting onto the train and gets abducted by the drone and dropped off the rooftop to hit the 7G button because she was the 77,707th person
to do it. And she's like,
to do something.
What happened? And like, I want to know what happened to all those people as well. But we could tell from the anime that they also, there's a town in there that's still printing newspapers because they were able to get a newer newspaper.
Also, the train guy who was old and then
they put the hats on.
That made me laugh real hard when they finally get it and he puts it on. He's like, "I gotta go. I need to get out of here." And say this. I was like, "Oh, I want to know what's going on. Why does he have that scar? What does he know?"
But then he's like to an old guy.
Yeah,
and it happens sporadically because it happens like 2 other times in the show where he just pops up and he's a normal, you know, himself again.
Also, too, the grandmother as the hamster, like, really got me when she turns around and like shows her the photo that her granddaughter is still alive. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
No.
Just sparking why I want to see Chris, any touch points on that?
Yeah, I mean,
Better. The last two, of course, I'm going to be excited for Go Go Loser Ranger. It's one of the first anime that we were speaking about when starting this podcast. So to be able to actually finally see it out.
Yeah, we
Happy.
watched it in dub.
We did, yes. We didn't know it was coming out in dub. And then, waited so long now it's in dub, which is good. I'm excited. It has that Power Rangers type theme. I kind of like the underdog tone of like the villains not being villains anymore, but the villains being the good guys. Yeah, what do they call them? Dragon? What do they call it themselves?
Dusters.
No. The Power Ranger people. What are they? The Dragon somethings?
Yeah. The Dragon Knights, Dragon something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But especially when that little kid was like rooting for the Dusters, like you could do it, and then he like turned. He's like, "Oh my god, somebody is saying that," and like getting a taste of it. The plot twist of that Yellow Ranger woman just knowing the entire time, she's like, "I've been covering for you all day," and then they want to take. I want to learn more about
Dragon Keepers.
Dragon Keepers.
Yeah,
but I want to learn more about like why does she want them to be taken down? Like she has to know something. She's part of the Yellow Squad, which is like the development people of research and
R&D.
development. So, but yeah, no. And then Kaijuu number 8. Very good animation.
Yeah.
I like the story. Has Kaijuu in it.
Yeah, this
Pretty
series
cool. Giant
fell
monsters. Sunset. I've only seen the first episode. Excuse me, Chris, or first 2.
I'm all caught up until the episode that came out yesterday, so episode 10. I don't think it fell off, and I don't know if you saw, and Harley
that only first episode.
Well, no, yeah. I'm not going to say anything. This is something I saw on the what'd you call it, the pickpock, Chris, by Otaku Anonymous. Hardly doubt they'll ever watch this or if it'll ever show up in their thing in it, but I saw they put out literally already talking about how, like you said, Chris, it fell off. Every episode introduces a new character and all these things, and like it, and everybody just like magically knows what to do in the next episode, just like a ton of other anime does. But I think what is making this harder to watch is that the points in time where they are cutting this episode. Everything is being cut at like the wrong point that doesn't line up with like an important moment. And that's my only gripe with this. So that I think is awesome. I think it's great. I think you have to look at it more from a kaiju movie perspective than a full anime one. And that's why some of these things is such as like why they introduce things the way they do, the pacing of it, the way the story is being told.
I think if the kaiju had samurai swords, Chris would be all about this. He'd be like, "Oh man, this is sick."
Well, I mean, not to spoil anything.
Yeah, no spoilers. But yeah, no, that's my list in entire.
No.
So
all right.
Now we get to judge John the hardest.
You mean the most accurate,
all the isekai at the top, all the.
Wait, pull my list.
I'm surprised I have 2 that I actually very curious about.
I'm surprised. Also,
usually doesn't happen.
Let me pull mine up here.
John's like, "Oh, mine's not working, guys. I guess I can't tell you."
Oh man,
Dang, I'm just gonna base it off of Chris's picks.
Here's my list, which I think Chris already was looking at on the side.
Just a little
bit.
He
was.
Just a little.
In judging.
He was.
We've talked about so many of them. I think we've more or less labeled all of them. So I will let you both give me your thoughts on my list, and I will defend or tell you while you were wrong.
I mean,
Feeble skipped immediately.
That was the first one I watched.
He was
you know what?
Why'd you pick that one out of all of them?
I was literally just watching Hulu randomly, and it was already on there. I was like, oh, I'm just going to get this out of the way now. And I was like, wow, I'm happy I got rid of that now. And I didn't end with this bad taste in my mouth from all of these that I watched.
I just want to hear more of your thoughts.
Skip list too.
I want to hear more of your thoughts on Astro Note. Like, why did you
it
not
was
like
just
it so much?
He is like gunning for this man. He wants Astro.
It was just, maybe it would have gotten better in episode 2 or 3. It was just too goofy.
That's what I liked about it.
Not even too good. It was just, there wasn't enough for me to like get it. I feel like everybody in that house is an alien, but I'm not really sure. There's just too many unknowns for me, and it was just
part
kind
of
of
the
like,
allure.
I was just shocked because like he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, there's another guy in there. I'm like, oh, maybe she has a boyfriend.
yeah,
And it's the dog, and they're an alien. I was like, oh, I guess that's from the beginning. The ship crashed, but I'm like, I wasn't just expecting that. I was so confused.
I guess
like,
what's I feel like is going to annoy me is just like it's going to have too many that trope of like misinterpreting the other person followed by too much humor that I just feel like would get too tiresome of watching over and over.
But it's not an
I feel like
isekai or romance.
I never said it was an isekai.
I know, I'm just saying it's like not a cookie cutter.
Just because it's not an isekai doesn't mean that it's not.
I just don't think it deserves to be skipped. Is my thing.
So is this your pick, Chris?
That's the great
is this
thing,
your pick
Chris.
out of all the anime? That's going to be your pick?
No, it's not.
What?
I just think it's really
I don't
good.
know.
That's the great thing with tier list, Chris. It's what we think and what we watch. And you know what?
Individually.
There is a link down below, maybe somewhere in this video. Click the link. Go watch these animes. Submit your tier list so you can either boost Chris's
Based off the first episode.
ego on this and align with him, or align with me in my breakdown of it. But yeah, maybe if we had watched the first 2, it might have ended up in basic for me, but it was just too much.
Okay. And I see
This is so mad.
you also have
any other questions?
Yeah, you have Vampire Dormitory in Skip. Want to talk about?
Come on! I was like, no way.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
That we actually didn't talk about that. That one was
Confusing as all hell.
unnecessary. The story is unnecessary. And I know it's not the animation studio who came up with this. It's not an original series. It's based on a manga. But like this is pretty much a bootleg version of why can't I remember it?
Twilight?
No. There's another older anime, same thing. Ouran Host Club. That's what it is. This is just a knockoff of Ouran Host Club. Both of you haven't watched it, just by judging your thing. Very classic, highly rated romance story.
Oh, Chris definitely hasn't.
It's the inverse of this, where she's going to the school, accidentally gets misinterpreted as a girl, but then they find out, oh, she is a girl, and they hire her on to work the staff because they have a host club that they have in school where they woo the women in there and like pretend to be like the prestigious boys of the school, and becomes like the front mascot of it for like how all the women are like swooning over her, all while the main male protagonist that like slowly falls more in love with her by the end of the story. Same concept, except they put vampires who I don't see why they just didn't make it a Yuri
whatever it is.
story and just left him a guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why it's so confusing of like, because he says he doesn't like women's blood.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, it's going to cause problems now that he's trying to get this person to love or learn how to love.
Yeah.
To make the
It's
blood
from the
sweeter.
beginning, though.
But
Because that person, the redhead from the beginning, was a girl, and it looks like because he sucked her blood, and then you can tell he enjoyed it, but then like now
no,
this is the
I
same
think
person.
What I
confused.
took from this is that any of the vampires don't like women's blood. Like, women's
they?
blood tastes bad.
I know.
So
he
that's why
doesn't.
they look for boys.
Well, I don't know. To me, it just seemed like he.
That whoever's loved the most is their blood is sweeter.
I don't know. Too confusing. Too overly complicated plot. Yeah. Skip.
It's just bad.
Not given anything. any other moment of time to it.
My big question though is the number one on your must watch.
Hey, we're not there yet.
Well, I will say this isn't like I didn't drag it there and then like in there. I just dragged him in there as I was going through. The order of it doesn't matter. It's just boom, boom, boom.
Gotcha.
In basic, you have the 4. I see the salad bowl, the
skipping loafer knockoff.
What's the last one? Is that Unnamed Memories or something?
Unnamed Memory, yeah. It was just, there was nothing memorable about it. I didn't think skip it because it seemed interesting.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with you on that one. It seemed interesting, but it was basic. So I think these were rated appropriately.
Yeah, it felt like something I watched before, but with like a slightly new idea. But yeah, I don't think it was bad. It was just too basic for me. And then
you're good. Bartender, I think, is great, but not a lot happens. Like, it's very like slice of life.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I watched up until the next 2 episodes, it would probably go up. But I think for
thoroughly enjoyed all the episodes I watched.
For first episode, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but you don't get too much. You're introduced into the main bartender at the last quarter of the show. So I mean, it wasn't too much that like we get to see has skills and everything else. So that's why it just landed on good for me.
And you also have the studio that comes with an angel in this list.
Studio view, angel included.
You enjoyed that
good
one?
Good studio lighting, angel included. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought the style was really good.
Oh, you liked that one because of the fan service that was in it.
Yeah,
Ryan watched that one with me, and he's like, "Why am I seeing this person's underwear?" And I'm like,
"It's because Chris is like, this is my A1 pick. That's why."
It just, I thought it was better than like, I was looking at it more of like, well, if we're going through all the romance ones that we have so far, it's definitely better than the Skip and Loafer knockoff. It's definitely funnier than it. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of The Angel Next Door with a better kind of like plot going on with it that just felt more like, to the point.
I hear you.
So that's why I thought it was there. And it wasn't, look, we haven't seen too many of those ones in that nature. So I was like, all right, I kind of like this one a little bit more of it. I'm interested to say the least to see what this angel is going to do and what kind of hijinks she'll get into. I thought it was going to be a lot more soft toned story and like soft spoken everything, but it was more like just fluid and a little more energy behind it, which kind of was a surprise to me.
Okay.
See, you can't find anything wrong with this tier list. It's too.
No,
there's nothing wrong. This is just what we each individually.
Yeah,
think.
Like this is good for you. Definitely not for me. I would not have it.
See,
like this.
I have the yokai one up there. I thought that was good. I liked it.
Yeah, but you also have the femboy one up there.
Like I said, I liked the story. It was interesting, but I watched up to like episode 5, and it just got too repetitive with the OP-ness of it. And that's where it kind of got down. But it was at least styled good, interesting, and made me laugh a bunch. So I was like, I could watch this. It's not going to be my number one pick.
This is the anime that I'd turn off if someone walked in the room on me.
But you're still watching it.
No, I'm not.
It's the one that he plays on his phone while he's in the bathroom.
Yeah. I have it playing on my phone right now in my hand.
Someone comes up behind him. He's like, oh, I'm not watching anything.
Covers it up on the bus. Don't look.
That's why I got the privacy screen protector.
Yeah, we know. You're shady.
Why. All right. Yeah. You're great. What was that? Kaijuu number 8.
Kaijuu number 8.
Train to the End of the World.
Touched on why that landed on great.
Yeah, we've talked about all these at this point.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you do have Oblivion Battery up there. Like, all the way up there.
I will agree with that. Like I said, I don't like sports series that much, but there was just something about the styling, the story. I'm kind of hooked on that idea. Is he actually have amnesia? Is he not have amnesia? I thought that was a good enough twist that to me was like that right there bumps it up from being a basic sports show, and the animation brought it up to like, okay, this is good, and that twist brought it up to great for me. I was like, okay, I would recommend this for if somebody was like, oh, what's a good like sports one or anything to watch? Like, you know what, watch this. It's got a good twist. I think it's going to be a really good like team building thing that they've got going on since the school doesn't have a baseball team. So
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty great show.
And then
Yeah.
you have Viral Hit and Windbreaker up in the great section.
Yeah. Windbreaker made it up to great for me just because I saw some additional clips on social media that I was like,
Oh, he's cheating.
I know I got influenced, but I was like, oh, I kind of want to see where some of this story goes, because I feel like there's some twists and turns coming up.
I'll say I did have a conversation about Windbreaker with someone. Just by chance, I happened to see that they watched it, and I asked them what they thought, and they're like, "Oh, I love it! It's so good."
Yeah,
and I told them how I felt. I said I didn't think it was that good. I think it's like
and they slapped
cookie cutter. And then they told me keep watching it, like it gets better.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it to me, the first episode made me think this is what I feel like Buchigiri should have been about. And the fights.
But Buchigiri's animation was top tier.
This was pretty good. I liked it. It's by
coloring's more pop.
The choreography was really fluid in it. Like it had really good fight scenes.
It's by Cloverworks.
Yeah, they did Spy Family.
The Spy Family. Yeah.
One of the three.
I know. It was good. It's sitting at a 7.28. It's in the top 10 on my anime list. But yeah, I thought it was good. I kind of want to see a little bit more where it goes. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. But I do think it's a pretty good. I think when we, especially too, since we've got two very strong high school fight oriented series with Viral Hit in this, I wouldn't want to put one over the other. I think they're both very strong in like their own narrow hallways. So I'm curious to see what people will like more.
I hear that. All right, and now in your must watch, we have the
my question, because I'm going to cut Chris off.
We're done with this. Next,
my question is your first must watch pick. Do you have more information that you're going off to put this on the top? Because for me, man, this was just like...
Well, again, it's not the first. I just dragged it up there when I...
No, I'm saying that it's not because it's first. I'm just saying in general because it's at your must watch.
Yeah. I really like occult series, and I think this is a very interesting occult series. Just like I want to know more about this guy. I want to know why he knows about these books, what other books it is. I just feel like there's some really cool stuff,
bro. Of course he knows about these books, man.
Yeah, but like when he goes into that underground subway area and like, okay, this will get you one ticket to.
I don't need to go.
Yeah, when he's like, all right, I'm not going to go right now. I'm like, all right, I'm interested in it. Two, I thought it was just a really original, like refreshing idea of like, okay, this mystery society, I don't know if they're going to be like diving into this, if it's just going to be stuff they come across, if he's going to be hunting for the books, if she's going to join him, if he's specifically looking for it. It's giving me really interesting vibes. I really like Dan to Dan Dan, that one that's coming out. And I feel like this is in the very similar wheelhouse of it. I just really liked it. I think also too, just seeing like the female lead's character of like how once she explains what the book is to her, and she's like, I need this in order to write, and the whole idea of like once she grew up, she wasn't able to write, and just the struggle too of like being an adult and being literally turned down at every turn for like something she loved to do.
Right.
Just like really resonated. And I was just like, once she figures it out, and after he explains like to the idea of like, you didn't revert back your age, your body just compressed everything. And that's why your brain is literally being squeezed and bleeding to death, and why you're losing your memories because you're literally crushing your brain. Was just really cool. And when she's jumping in and out of reading the poem and like getting around him, and they're both just exhausted, and he's like, I'll read your story. And so they must have some like hidden backstory between the two of them, because he clearly knows more about her.
They work.
There's just a lot of mysteries, and I love a good mystery. And to me, it was like a must watch.
All right. Well, tell us about your...
And the fan service, Chris. Don't tell me that you didn't enjoy that fan service.
Was there fan service in this one?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't know, Chris.
Any fan service, I kind of almost black out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he enjoys it so much.
Or does fan service Chris come out and you black out?
Yeah, it's one or the other.
All of a sudden, you see, what's this hidden account on my Twitter? You open the app and you see there's some your hidden persona, Chris, who's just been like posting all this fan service anime and putting his comments in. This is the greatest thing ever. But then Go Loser Ranger. I mean, we've been hyped up and talked about it. I really enjoyed it. I think the animation style is great. I just wish it wasn't on Hulu to watch. But also, too, I don't know if the animation style would be as interesting as it was if it wasn't on Hulu. I think this is also just like Undead Unluck, where they have their own in-house studio doing this and producing it. Unlike Tokyo Revengers, where they licensed it to watch, or like Bleach, where they licensed it to stream. But yeah, and then just like we said with A Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, great, loved it. Think it's a great romance too, because there's definitely something going on between the two of them at the end when she trips and she catches her midway through.
We don't know that. I think it's really good. I think, a good friendship brewing.
I think
I didn't pick up any romance.
She blushed a good amount.
Yeah, because it's someone who's like, being a good voice in her ear, like cheering on her art, and she's like awestruck.
You spend enough time around with people, you have admiration for them.
What? Then you fall in love.
Things start to blossom.
Then why aren't we in a throuple?
Chris is
because you don't invite us over, Chris.
Yeah, Chris,
you guys
that's
have houses too.
Yeah, you still haven't been to my house. John's been over 3 times.
Yeah, because you don't invite
me. What do you think we're doing, Chris? What do you think we're doing?
Myself over.
John did.
Okay.
We had a great time.
My mom told me not to do that. She taught me not to do that.
Well, Chris, if you want to make this work, you need to try harder.
Okay. I'm the bad guy.
Do you even love me, Chris?
I'm kidding. Goodbye. Let's check. Beep. All right.
Now the hard part. How do we do this, John?
Well, I mean, there's not really much we're doing unless we want to build the Team Umai's list together.
I don't think we can, because like there's some things that we just
too many conflicting.
Astro Note, we're on the opposite spectrum. Like
Well, then it would fall somewhere in the middle. Average it out. You put it at the top. I put it at the bottom.
Then it would be good.
So I put it at the bottom, so it would end up being basic.
No, because the S tier trumps like bait skip. A lot.
So you're saying S tier is 2 points to skip, which is 1 point. So that would put it right at good. So it's a good series.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put those together later. But no, I think if anything, we can either see what the community pick is, because we're doing one each, and the community one just so we can get through the spring and into the glorious summer before Otakon comes. And we'll be caught up to talk to people about relevant series. So let's see. Or do you each want to put out your...
I'm curious to see what the community is first, and then we should do ours.
All right. Well, the community in new series, non-returning, top scoring community favorite of the spring 2024 season is... Any guesses?
Astro Note.
Kaijuu number 8.
Really?
It is the number 1 new behind Sound Euphorium Season 3, Konosuba's God Blessing on This Wonderful World Season 3, Jobless Reincarnation Season 2 Part 2, This is the number 1 anime this season.
Any of the ones
It's
we
great.
watch are they not in top 10?
Then followed up by, in the number 2 spot, is A Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night. That is number 2. And then in number 3, going down, is Windbreaker.
Okay.
4th place is Go Go Loser Ranger. And then in 5th is Train to the End of the World. Those are the, yeah.
Okay, well.
And then surprisingly, number 6 is The Raven Does Not Choose Its Master. I don't know
It has
what
to
the
get better.
community...
It has to get better then.
I guess,
That's the only
but
thing.
that is one hard pill to swallow. To watch that and then be like, I'm in it. Let's
I mean,
launch
I wasn't
episode 2
completely
right
turned
now.
off by it.
Maybe if they
I-
dub it, I'll enjoy
I wasn't
it
turned
more.
off,
I don't
but
know.
like nothing thrown at me made me say, I really want to know about this. It was just like I jumped into a
Well, don't you want to know
conversation
more
that had been
about
going on?
crows with 3 feet?
No, not really.
So do we want to do, since we know the community pick, do we want to stick with the community pick and then we each pick one after?
Well, yeah. So I mean, if we're going with, so that was whatever. So the community pick is Kaijuu number 8. So Kaijuu number 8 locked in. If that was your choice, you might want to pick your second follow up.
You want to do the order in which we did our tier list? So we'll go Chris, me,
Yeah.
and
No,
then
I
John.
have to go last.
You have to go
Oh,
last.
okay.
Yes.
You want me to go first,
Oh.
John?
We
You
should
can go
have
first,
John
Zach.
go first.
But I just talked. That's going to be
exactly.
that's
So
double
I,
up of me talking.
Okay.
I choose Go Go Loser Ranger.
Go
Figure-
Loser Ranger. I was feeling that. I feel it was going to be Kaijuu number 8 or Go Go Loser Ranger for you.
John was sitting right next to me when I watched both virtually and in person.
And
Okay?
physically. Go Go Loser Ranger is surprisingly, like I said, number
4?
5,
5?
4 or 5. Yeah, it's 4 or 5. It's top 5. So yeah, it's in there. The community likes it.
I know John's. I know what he's going to pick.
You know what mine is? Because I honestly,
He's going to pick something
I'm
from the
torn.
skip.
I'm really torn.
He's
There
like the Fable.
are three that I absolutely
Yeah, it's the must watch.
really liked. Even so much to say I loved them.
Wow. On the first episodes.
Yes. Well, they all were really great. Chris, which one do you think it is?
I think.
Or do you think you know all 3 of mine?
Well, I think I do know all 3 of yours.
Okay.
It's your 3 must watches.
Yeah,
Tell me-
I think
Tell me what the 3 are.
Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night is definitely one of them.
Okay, that's one.
Train to Nowhere.
Train to the End of the World.
That's 2.
And Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, but I'm torn between those 3.
Wow, we got
I
him right.
Yeah,
Wow,
I really
we're
liked
good.
all 3 of those.
Well, which one's your favorite, John?
I really want to see, all right, Train to the End of the World. I'm going to watch that regardless of this. But I don't think you guys will probably watch it. So I'll save that for myself. That'll be my little treat.
I actually was hoping you'd pick that one because I think it's better than Unsolved
Honestly,
Mysteries.
that was my gonna be. I was like, I hope he picks this one.
What? I mean, if we
So-
go back to
John,
your
that's my
list,
second. That's the only one I have, and I think in the C
I know
tier,
that's your second
or
great
B
one.
tier or whatever.
You don't want to watch A Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, Chris? That's
Well,
in your
that's my
tier
pick.
list.
All right, so then we have that. So now it's up to John. John's pick. John, what are we watching?
Oh man.
What is the fourth chosen?
Well, Chris,
We
if
gave
you're
him
gonna
too much
pick A
power.
Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, I guess I'm gonna go with Mysterious Disappearances.
There it is. The thrill. He's so mad.
It's a joke, right? You're joking, right? You meant to say Train
he
to the
could
End of
choose.
the World.
He could choose what he wants.
I know,
Let him
I know.
choose.
I'm just saying, I really did think
Yeah.
it
John,
should
I'll
be
watch
the
a train.
It's hard.
I'll watch a train to the end of the world
Yeah.
with you.
I'm
Yeah.
also wanting to watch it, so we
All
should
right,
just
well,
put it on the list.
Maybe we should
could-
just.
It is top 5. We could
watch it
do
ourselves.
it as 2 community picks against us if we want to.
I think I think we can because it's
So I think what we're saying here is Train to the End of the World is our collective
Pick.
team favorite.
I guess so. I would say that.
Like
Wow.
that's our
Chris
team
is like
favorite
30% into that right there. He was like, yeah.
Well, cause
yeah,
I think there's other ones that we definitely
Astro
did.
Note was just, so much more
But
fan
I mean,
service.
collectively, it seems like all three of us really like that one.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be our team favorite. You don't have to finish all of it, but I think watching a decent amount of it
Yeah.
would be a good reflection.
Toss it in.
Okay.
Toss it in.
All right.
Cool.
So that's it. We were watching Kaijuu number 8, which I'm already 90% of the way through. So
Cheater.
Catch up.
Mustard.
Then we're watching Go Go Loser Ranger, and Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, followed up by Mysterious Disappearances. That's a pretty big spread.
Did you mention
right
Train
there.
to the End of the World?
Oh, and Train to the End of the World as our fan
Thank you.
favorite. Yeah.
Community favorite for ourselves.
Team favorite, fan favorite.
Team favorite. Yeah, that
team
works.
favorite.
Team of
Yeah.
My Special.
There we go.
But yeah, I think that's a pretty widespread
Yeah.
of like series. I think that's
I think it's
would
good.
be a pretty interesting watch. If anything, out of all of those ones, those are the best ones on there. I am surprised though, looking at this one, Mysterious Disappearances is right next to Viral Hit.
If you picked Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, I would have picked Viral Hit.
No?
Yeah.
See, I think Viral Hit's good. I just don't think it's good enough to be like the top, but I'm excited. I'm
definitely going to be watching ones that are on our list, like Viral Hit and
Yeah.
Bartender,
Good luck.
Blessing of God,
Yeah.
Astro Note.
Definitely do it. I'd love to hear like if maybe you like compared to what you did pick, if you thought it was better or different.
Yeah.
I already watched a ton of these. Like I was saying, I was Reincarnated as the Seven Prince already up to episode 6 because I was just putting it on in the background as I drove.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do that.
Because it was dubbed. It's one of the few ones that was dubbed.
basically
so, like,
watching a
podcast.
I just had to listen to it. Yeah, exactly. I just had to listen to it. But yeah, so like,
Let me see you do that with the sub version.
It's on his automatic driving. The
I know,
self-driving.
fancy guy.
Yeah, I know. Only my subscription did expire now, my trial of it. Yeah, if they knocked it down to $50 a month, I'd sign up for it. But definitely not worth the $100 right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the spring breakdown for us.
Yep.
I think we had some good thoughts on this. I'm excited to see where these picks go, and the ones that I'll also be watching on the side. Yeah.
Yes.
It could be
stay
good.
tuned.
Exciting.
It's already. This is week 10 of them out. They're there.
Probably almost. We'll have a lot to. I think we'll be able to binge a lot. We don't have to wait for
I binge
for
a lot.
everything,
Some
so-
of these, I think some of these are dubbed too, right?
Yeah.
Kaijuu number 8 is dubbed and
Dubbed.
releasing the
Go
day
Go.
of, so that whole season of that's dubbed.
Go Go Loser
and
Ranger
then
dubbed.
Go Go Loser Ranger is coming out dubbed, so that should be like following up really soon. Jellyfish is probably not going to be dubbed.
Yeah.
But
Those are the only
That's
dubbed
pretty
ones.
easy. That's pretty easy to watch. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say something.
That you love your two co-hosts.
Yeah.
We can make this work, Chris. Okay. We'll go to a nice little reconnecting therapy session. We'll bring out all the emotions, and
The
then
cry.
we can make this work.
Yeah.
We only need one bed for Otakon.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Remember my snoring, everybody.
I have my floor mat.
Never mind.
Actually,
We need multiple beds for Otakon.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Leave a comment
let us-
if you watched any of these, which one you like the most.
Make your tier
out
list.
The tier list. I'd be very interested to see at the end of this what the community rankings
Smash that like
breakdown of it.
button. Sorry, I had to get it in there. That's so tough.
Now that my ears are bleeding, Jesus.
Okay, well, I guess nobody has
On that
anything
note.
else they wanted to throw out there with that. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. Goodbye.